Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's that time again, folks. Time for the world famous motion picture Retribution Power Hour, presented to you by the illustrious Evening Brothers. Take it away, band.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour,
baby,
presented to you by these illustrious, sweet, sensual Evening Brothers. I am Brother John.
I am sensuous, Brother Lincoln.
That's the word I was looking for.
I hated that, and I am Brother Preston.
That's scrumptious Brother Preston. And we're all here to talk to you about the laws and the making of the laws that are important in this world and how we should function as a governmental society. So
Preston, can you tell us about how a bill becomes a law?
Yeah, Preston, sing that song that you made up by yourself about how a bill becomes a law.
Yeah, that one that you wrote and you said you were so excited to tell us about.
Yeah, well, he hasn't stopped. Guys, everybody, he has not stopped talking about it since.
Yeah, you can catch it on my album Schoolhouse Rock. Dropping next week,
and it's rock spelled Rache. It's very like meta, very modern, very hip spelling of rock.
That's exciting. What other can you give us a taste as to what other songs?
Yeah, just
might
a little
be in that
preview.
album? You're just gonna have to wait.
Oh, I like that mystery.
He's keeping it close to the chest.
That's why we call him Scrumptious Preston. So I made you guys. This is actually, guys. You're never going to believe this. This is actually the only podcast on the internet hosted by any series of white males that talks about film.
I was so surprised.
Yeah, well, we're
still number one. We're still the only ones.
Yeah, we're number one. We're also, the last ones because we're doing it so good. And I made you boys watch the movie Dinotopia, or possibly Adventures in Dinotopia, or possibly Adventures in Dinotopia, presented by Hallmark Television, depending on which version you watch.
And it was amazing. It was almost, I'd say a spiritual experience watching Adventures in Dinotopia. That's it. I don't have anything else.
That's all you got? Okay,
it was spiritual. It was life-changing.
Preston, what
transformational, I might say.
Oh.
It was transcendental, you said?
Transformational, but I think transcendental also works really, really well to describe this podcast. This movie.
Go so far as to say Transylvanian.
Yeah, especially. Yeah, I can see that.
I think you could go so far as to say that.
Here's what I would say,
though. I think this movie was transcendental for sure.
Oh.
Because I thought no movie would transcend the hatred I had watching Cue the Winged Serpent. And John, you have succeeded.
Yes.
Yeah, oh boy.
Oh, Boise. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yet Dinotopia mines levels of badness that I have never before experienced.
Oh, we're plumbing the depths
today. Levels of badness in just like basic film language. Like when an insert shot happens and you're like, that was not connected with motion or with something happening in the frame. There was no temporal or plot or any connection to this insert, and it happens, I don't know, 90 times throughout this movie as random insert shot that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like we've watched a lot of movies that are really okay and bad in certain elements. This is just, at its core, it is just not competent, which is extremely fun for me.
No, not at all. Let's get into it. Let's get right into it.
Let's dive right in because we don't have that much time.
Let's jump on this horse, ride into the sunset.
We only have an hour to talk about all of this film. So Dinotopia opens up with almost Josh Hutcherson and that guy from The Flash who plays Captain Cold and an old man in a
that's
plane.
what he's from.
And we learn that the two younger men are what I thought was father-son duo, but is in fact brother-brother duo, David and Carl Scott, and their dad...
David and Carl.
Papa Scott. Don't know what his name is.
I don't know if we ever name him. I think they just call him Dad. Also, there is so much brotherly, but also psychosexual tension between these two brothers at the beginning while they're in the plane.
Definitely.
There's so much like jealousy and hatred. It's very very Freudian feelings on this plane.
The vibes are Freudian.
Yeah, the vibes are distinctly Freudian while they're on the plane. And it's accompanied by the most like obtuse, opaque, nothing dialogue you have ever heard in your life.
Oh, and that doesn't go away, I don't think, for the rest of the film. It
Not
really is.
even a little bit.
Yeah, like I saw it opening credits. It was like
there's not a single well-written word in the entire film.
Yeah, they didn't even, yeah, they can't even pull off regular words like my or the. Not a single word.
They didn't land one good one. Yeah, we saw it in the opening credits. We saw the Hallmark presentation, and I was like, that's strange. That doesn't feel right. Maybe that's... And then they started talking, and I was like, no, this feels about right. Like, this is...
This is right on brand.
That's what we're working with. So their plane crashes right into the ocean.
Because they're hitting a storm, and their dad, who is supposedly a pilot, says, we got to outrun this thing. Which I don't know how much... I don't know a lot about storms, but I know that it's not like, let's just go faster than storm, and storm is not a problem anymore. That's not how storms work.
You have to phase through the storm, I think is what it is. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I watched Interstellar, and I'm pretty sure that was a part of it. But maybe you just didn't understand
Yeah, John,
it like I did.
When you've taken several long plane rides recently, right?
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment where you were going in a storm and the pilot's like, don't worry, we're faster than storm.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about storm if we're fast.
You know, it's funny. We were on our plane to New Zealand. We did hear, everybody on board, please don't worry too much because storm is slow as fuck and we are fast as hell. So that was cool. Yeah, I do think our pilot, it was a little bit concerning that it was Johnny Knoxville piloting the plane, but it's okay. We made it. We lived.
But in this movie, Storm is not slow as fuck, and they are not fast as hell because they get downed.
Storm is fast. Storm is extremely fast and takes them down like a jaguar, a thing we'll be talking about probably a lot due to some potential sounds that some various pterodons may or may not make later on in the film. Yeah, so they go down and they watch their dad die, which is a bummer, presumably. We see
if you could hear anything, because clearly they didn't use underwater mics. They just open their lenses up underwater and let God take the wheel.
Yeah, I presume it's a sad moment. They swim to shore. The brothers survive. They swim to shore, and they're pretty much cool with it all. They're pretty much okay, most of it.
Yeah, they're just like, geez. That was crazy.
Oh, dang, that sucks. Our dad, we got to go get him. That's a thing they keep saying. Oh, we got to go get our dad. And it's like, you did watch him go down in a plane, though. Like, I know that, spoilers, the movie is preparing us for the eventual return of dad. But from their perspective, he's extremely, extremely dead. What are they going to go get?
Yeah, there's not a lot. They don't have a lot of evidence to back their claims. And also, it is not very clear how they end up on the shore.
No.
They just kind of pop up on the surface of the water and they're at an island.
Yeah, there's a moment where one of the brothers says we should have just stayed with the plane, and I was like, you're not faster than Storm for sure. You're extremely not faster than Storm.
Yeah, if plane wasn't faster than Storm, then you are definitely not faster than Storm.
Yeah. So anyway, they walk around and they run into a strange old man. Cyrus Crabbe is his name, who tells them that they're
played by Professor Lupin himself.
Excuse me?
He's Professor Lupin in Harry Potter 3.
I'm sure you're right. Played by...
The werewolf? You don't remember the werewolf? The professor, who's a werewolf. Professor Lupin.
I'm sorry, I'm just geek check. I'm not really a nerd like that. I don't really pay that much attention to Harry Potter.
I could not get over the idea that Professor Lupin was in Dinotopia, and apparently just glazed right by you.
That actually makes me feel a little bit better. So I was trying to figure out the entire movie who that guy was.
Sorry, I guess I'm just cooler than you guys. He tells them that they're on Dinotopia, and their reaction to that is, where's that? Where is Dinotopia? And not, excuse me, did you just say the word Dinotopia? I've got a note here that I wrote Cyrus racist ? Which will later become several notes that is Cyrus racist without ? That boy, he's got some damage to him that we'll get to.
Yeah, he's got some dino damage. He's a dino racist.
Yeah. It's, you know what's funny? It's funny, the thing about this movie is that it is so, like, I'm going through my notes here and I'm like, man, we're already dragging. And I felt that, no, sorry, dragging, not dragon. It's dinosaurs. Anyway.
Pun.
No, like, my thoughts are like, I'm already feeling how slow this is. And I kind of think that that's true of the movie as well. Like, nothing happens. And then about half or 3/4 of the way through, everything happens. And
there is a startling amount of treading water in the first hour 10 of this movie.
There's so much.
Hour 30 maybe.
Yeah, there is so much in the last 40-ish minutes. I do think, and I'm sure we'll kind of dive into some of the extremely confusing legal rules of Dinotopia, but for now, they are introduced. These boys meet Marion Waldo, who is presumably attractive.
Love interest Waldo.
Marion, love interest Waldo, who she calms an ankylosaurus that has a toothache by ripping the shit out of its tooth, which would not calm me personally, but hey, what do you know?
You're not an ankylosaurus.
I guess I'm not, much to my deep regular shame. Here's the thing.
Can we talk about the CGI?
Yeah, we can. Oh, yeah. No, this seems like a good time. You want to?
Because now's a great time. I love that this is a post-Jurassic Park movie, right?
Right.
So this was made in the era that we've seen dinosaurs and human characters interact on the silver screen. And this movie makes the brave, bold narrative choice to never feature a dinosaur and a human like in the same shot at the same like level. Like, if the dinosaur's in the foreground, the human's way in the background. If the dinosaur's in the background, human's way in the foreground. It's all just like, where can we key it the most easily? Put her there.
Just drop her in there.
Drop her in there. Cut to an insert of this beautiful human Marion with a regular-sized forehead. And have her calm this dinosaur.
Lincoln, are you insinuating that this is a low-budget movie?
No, I'm implying it.
I mean, okay, it is a low-budget movie. However, if you don't have the budget to make a movie where dinosaurs are not only there, but talking, I think that maybe
major plot points.
Don't make the film. If it's my money, make a different film that you do have the money for. Like,
that's less ambitious.
Like one where they're stuck in a warehouse. One of those ones where it's like, oh, we've got, Thomas Jane, and he sure is stuck in this warehouse that we could afford. I think
and Christmas is coming up.
What?
So the other thing I want to talk about. So this movie, once we meet Marion, we're kind of introduced to Dinotopia as a world,
right.
And from what I can tell, it's like a functional society, right? There's laws, there's like people, there's taxes and business and transportation and all this.
Yeah.
And you get this like this ever so slight, like you're peeking through the fence post, this glimpse into a rich fantasy world with dinosaurs. And yet they decided, instead of like making a story that's literally just set in that world, we'll do it from point of view characters that are both dumb as rocks and have no idea what's going on, and also don't ever ask about anything. So it's not like we could spend time explaining things to them because they're not interested in Dinotopia.
No, they couldn't get in. You know what? That's the thing, though.
Well, they really dance around the whole thing that like everybody sort of drifts in here.
Yeah.
And nobody's new.
Yeah.
It's like kind of rich.
But yet
that's
they
like
don't actually explore
like
that dynamic at all.
That's something. There's so many things that this movie gently kind of gestures toward. Like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if we talked about that? And it's like, you could do that, but you're not.
You're the movie. You're the one in charge here.
Yeah.
It's like all of Joe Biden's tweets where he's like, someone's really got to do something about this. You're like, yeah.
Yeah,
you're the one, dude.
That's something you could do. But the thing that frustrates me so deeply about this film, and it's something I didn't notice until my wife kind of put a point on it finally. This is a movie about dinosaurs with dinosaurs that could not give a even quarter of a shit about dinosaurs. It cares so little. Like, if you slot the dinosaurs out for, giant dildos, it doesn't change a single thing
warrior cats
about this movie. It could be Dildotopia, and it's exactly the same. Because there's never a point.
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
not a single moment where David or Carl look at anybody and goes, "Hey, friend, my brother in Christ, that's a fucking dinosaur." There's never a point where they have to reconcile with the idea that dinosaurs are still alive. They see a dinosaur and they'll go, I sure thought those things were dead. And then racist Cyrus is like, wouldn't that be nice? Can you imagine how great that would be?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, a world that acknowledges that dinosaurs are just normal in this universe is fine as long as the dinosaurs aren't the, like, supposed to be the point of the story, as long as the drama's somewhere else. But then you throw in David and who is
Carl.
You throw in David and Carl, and you're like, okay, so it's going to be about them encountering dinosaurs. And they're like, also, no. We also don't care about dinosaurs.
It's not about that. So they take a bus, or a brachiosaurus, a
brachiosaur bus.
A brachiosaur
Kevin
bus, thank
Sorbus.
you. A Kevin Sorbus bus. They take it to Waterfall City. They're going to that for some reason. Don't know why. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't give a shit. There are several moments in this movie that there's probably a reason they're doing stuff, and I just don't know.
This whole first scene feels so much like a video game. Like, you just walk up to an NPC and they're like, "Ooh, you're in Dinotopia. You need to go to," and then it's like blue text, "Waterfall City."
Yeah, and they're like, "Go to your waypoint," and it's like screen. 4 feet away.
Yeah. And it's like the bus.
Cyrus says that he's going to Waterfall City too, presumably also using the same bus system. And yet they don't travel together, and they just sort of show up, and then Cyrus just appears.
I don't know. I feel like I've had that interaction with somebody, though, before in my life, where I meet somebody, like, walking, at the gate to a plane, and we're like, "Oh, cool, we're both going to, California or whatever." But then we're like, don't really connect with them, and then you go, "All right, well, have fun." And you just don't see him ever again.
And you desperately avoid eye contact as you're deboarding.
Right.
You're like, "Don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. Don't acknowledge that we had the connection here that I squandered."
So they travel through carnivore territory, but it's fine because they brought food to, quote, appease them. Another little piece in this elaborate puzzle of how does a dinosaur work in this movie. I still don't totally know. I don't think the movie knows or cares.
Well, dinosaurs are still wild at this point. We have not encountered any conscious talking creatures yet.
Right. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. That's a piece. That's a key. A little like, oh, cool. Wild dinosaurs. Dinosaurs must be wild. Lincoln, as you so astutely pointed out, we are going to meet some dinosaurs that can do a talk. And that dinosaur that do a talk, he say all the dinosaurs can do a talk, which makes me think.
And his name is Zippo.
Some of this is, yes, his name is Zippo. This makes me think that some of this is like the Brachiosaurus, the Kevin Sorbus is slavery. I'm pretty relatively confident. And I don't like it. I don't like the look.
If there was a class of humans that were all really tall and we were like, "Hey, big human, carry us on your back," I think that would be very wrong.
It would be a little concerning. The budget gets too blown out, so they have to abandon the Brachiosaurus to go to a random little village that's been abandoned because, as we learn, their sunstone has gone out. Oh no, not the sunstone.
No. View the places where missing sunstones have been
Not the
located
MacGuffin.
on your map.
I hate when my MacGuffin stops working.
It sucks so bad. So we learn that the sunstones are the source
Preston,
of energy.
you gotta press minus. Press minus to view the missing sunstones. Press minus to view the sunstone log and see which ones you have to fill back in.
They decide to sleep in this village because it's there, I guess. I don't know. A thing that it took me, I think, until the last 10 or so minutes to figure out was the sunstone is A, a source of their energy, and B, really more than anything, their protection from the evil dark creatures, the dark ones, the dark monsters, which doesn't, again, make any sense, but it's fine because it just is what it is. So a T-Rex attacks the village they're sleeping in a scene that I actually think is pretty okay for this movie's standards. Like, in terms of CGI.
It's in the dark.
Yeah, it's in the dark. It's a little rainy. It's all right.
It's definitely a bold choice in a post-Jurassic World to put a T-Rex attack happening on a rainy night, like next to a wall. But,
Yeah.
But it's a choice they made.
Yeah, you can feel that this movie is like Jurassic Park could do it. I don't see why we couldn't. Like that's the end. It's not like
we couldn't.
It's not like I want to honor Jurassic Park or like do something to meet that legacy. It's just like, well, if those shitheads could make it, I don't see why we couldn't.
If good old Steven could make it, then Hallmark Channel could pull it off easily.
I don't know. They set up an Avatar connection with these pterodactyls or skybacks, as we're gonna learn. They're saved by some of them. It's kind of nothing. Whatever. It doesn't matter. We learn that there are people that are missing, and so are their Triceratops. That never comes up again, as far as I know. Don't worry about it.
I don't think we see a single Triceratops in the whole film.
There's a Triceratops later in the movie.
Sorry.
And it's a baby.
Can you recut my audio? I think we see a single Triceratops in the whole film.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, good
there
job.
You go. Hey, Preston. What are you doing?
Listening.
An element of
drawing?
podcasting is talking as well. You know that, right? You know that's part of what we do here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you to get through the boring plot summary so I can unload all of my
Preston,
insults.
you don't have a skip 30 seconds button. You're not a listener. You got to participate.
Also,
If it's boring, you have the power.
I thought we decided that this podcast runs by walking through it as we go and then talking about stuff. Do you have stuff to talk about? I'm fucking floundering. Okay, so they go to Waterfall City, some dumb shit happens, they find the underground world, and then they fight a bunch of dinosaurs, and woohoo, a movie over. What do you want to talk about, Preston? I didn't realize that's what we were doing here. I
didn't know that's what we were waiting for. Now do you want to participate?
What do you want to bring up? Because I got stuff to talk about. I just thought we had to talk about what this movie was about.
No. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I'm paying attention now.
It doesn't feel like you are.
So what do you have to add? You saw this movie. You saw the same movie that we did, right? You saw a guy named Zippo who's a dinosaur. Get ready.
I'm not convinced Preston watched this movie.
Get ready. Everyone gather around. Preston has one of his killer hot takes just ready to go. He's been cooking it up. That's why he's been silent for the past 15 minutes.
Hear ye. He's been working away.
He's toiling away in the library, studying the volumes, the ancient texts.
The Preston has
He's here
arrived.
to bless us with a gift of knowledge.
He's come down from the mountain to share his wisdom with us.
Abandon your prayers.
This movie. Isn't this like this is like a 2-hour movie, right?
Yeah, it clocks
Yes,
in
it
right
is.
about 2
And
hours.
I feel like they spent the entire. I think whoever made this made a previous movie, and some critic watched it and said there is a lack of Chekhov's gun in this movie. And so in this one, Dinotopia, there are so many Chekhov's guns that never ever come back up again.
It never matter.
No, never. There's like the whole we live by the rules of Dinotopia never comes up again. There's like the T-Rexes
except when
that
they
I don't
get
think we
arrested.
ever see the T-Rexes again after their one little attack.
No, they only had the
Yeah.
one scene budget for T-Rex.
Okay, Preston, you bring up a good point with the we live by the rules of Dinotopia. Did you guys get this small subtle sense that this world wasn't as perfect as they were making it out to be?
Oh,
And it was something
Lincoln.
dark
Lincoln,
and
hang
terrible
on.
was being hidden.
Dinotopia occult for sure.
Yeah. And it was but then the whole rest of the narrative is no, it is a utopia. You will be happy.
Yeah, that is the thing. The movie occasionally brings up things to say, oh, maybe Dinotopia isn't as beautiful as we thought it was. And then the rest of the time, it's just nah, it's as good as we think. It's good.
And they do this whole soul connection thing.
Feel in my heart that I've lost.
Oh,
The
boy, that was
dinosaur
weird,
that the one
too.
guy hatches never comes up again.
Yeah. They're hey, you're going to get a soulmate. Also, you're going to hatch this soulmate dinosaur from an egg.
Oh? Lincoln, are you
John,
back?
are you back?
Are you back?
Everyone else has been gone.
Oh.
Oh, I heard a little
I don't think you
Preston.
guys ever left.
I heard a little John.
Oh, I hear Preston.
I hear Big John.
Which one of us went down in the plane?
I don't know. Okay, wait, yeah. Let's stop right here. I think we're making such great progress. I want to talk about if the three of us, who is the dad, who is Carl, who is David,
Right.
and what are our roles? Because Carl really hates Dinotopia. He's like, this place is weird, and David is like, I'm going to fuck a dinosaur.
Right.
I know that's gonna happen.
I would go on ahead. I'm going to get ahead of what you guys are going to say. I would love to fuck a dinosaur. Definitely.
We found our David.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I'm cool with it. It's true, though.
I feel that Preston would be the most disillusioned. So I think he's got to be Carl. And I think I'm dying. I think I'm going down with a plane.
See, I see what you're saying, but I do think that the dad appears to be the most competent and
capable.
Useful character. So I'm a little bit worried that maybe that would be Preston. Like just as a survivalist and man, he seems like the one that would be the most able to perhaps craft a shiv or climb a wall or look in the general direction of a bobcat. And I just don't think we fit that sort of so much.
Okay. How funny is it that the dad literally doesn't experience any of Dinotopia that entire runtime of the movie?
Oh, it's so good when he gets up to Dinotopia and he sees a dinosaur and he's like, "What the fuck is that? What the hell is? Excuse me."
He's like, "I just thought this was a cave. I thought we just crashed on an island. I've been like, surviving out here, and there's this whole civilization right outside my door."
Oh, Lincoln, I just put something together that I don't think you're going to like too much, but you are Zippo like 1-for-1 almost.
Oh, no. Fuck.
Absolutely.
I'm Zippo.
I just realized what a Zippo you are.
I am a Zippo.
You got big Zippo
I'm also
energy.
really bad at ping pong.
Do you guys remember that time?
Zippo.
Do you remember that time that the movie took like a hard stop, took a little break to decide whether or not it was cool to bang a dinosaur?
And more astounding, it landed on, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's all good, baby. All good in the hood. Like what you like. Love is love, my dude.
No worries. No ethical, no spiritual, no physiological issues.
No, it's
nothing
just,
to worry about.
The Dinotopia's whole thing is, I don't think I want to yuck your yum. Go get it. Go to town. Yeah, I'm good with it. Okay, let's take votes. Do you guys think it's cool to fuck a dinosaur? But hold on. In Dinotopia, where they're clearly sentient beings, I think yes.
Yes, we know what you think. I would say no, because I think even if there was another species that was close to humans that could communicate through speech, I still think it wouldn't be cool to have sex with it.
But what if it really wanted to with you, as Zippo did with that one lady? I
would politely decline.
Did you guys sense that there was some sexual tension between Zippo and the dad when they kind of met? There was a little something between them.
Just a little crackle, a little spark.
Just a little like, oh, maybe I could open myself up to a new partner.
Also, I think I talked about this while we were all frozen and we couldn't hear what was going on, but how weird is it that like your dinosaurian soulmate is somebody that you raise from birth?
It's pretty wild. Yeah. It's not a great look.
It's very, very strange. And if the thing is, if dinosaurs couldn't talk and it was like, here's like your eternal little pet friend who's going to be like a dog or like a horse, human areas of animals that we have very like intuitive connections with in our real human world.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense, but they decided to make these dinosaurs, sentient and conscious and cogent. So it's like, are they in love, or is it like this platonic connection, or is it like a pet, or what is it?
It's really unclear. And yeah, like it's like 26, the one that David or Carl, whichever one he is his Carl. Thank you. His chosen little guy. He's clearly a father figure type thing for that. So does it start as father figure and change? Does it morph in some way?
Yeah, because that's the worst.
That's
the
no
worst.
good.
I don't like that. Preston, what do you think?
Do you think it's okay to fuck a dinosaur?
Okay. No.
What if you've raised it since birth?
No.
Have you thought about not being a bigot for a second and then opening up your mind?
Hey, wait, no. I'm not on your side,
no.
John. I said no. Okay, we've kind of briefly addressed Zippo, but Zippo is a talking bipedal dinosaur
Right.
who is like a foppish Victorian gentleman. What else is there about him? He's a professor.
He's a professor.
talk.
He plays ping pong
His
at
name
one
is
point.
Zippo.
His name is Zippo.
Like I cannot believe that his name is Zippo.
I know that these movies are based on a book. This movie is based on a book. I know that.
I know these movies are based on a true story, but
I know that this is based on a book, but it's like to make that true, like to make that okay with me, it does have to be a somewhat all right movie. Like for me to go, oh cool, that must have been a thing from the book, as I'm assuming Zippo was. I kind of have to be engaged in the film, where in this it was like Zippo shows up and it's extremely haunting to look at when he's talking, and then you're supposed to love him by the end, and I extremely do not. I wicked don't love Zippo. I really am scared by Zippo.
you're still confronting the fact that his name is Zippo.
I'm still reconciling with the idea that a dinosaur talks and his name is Zippo and he wants to be my friend.
Is Zippo. And he maybe loves my dad.
And he might be extremely wicked into my dad. I don't like that. I don't want him. I don't want my new stepdad Zippo. You're not my real dad, Zippo.
I'm never going to call Zippo dad. I don't care how long. I don't care how long you've been married.
Preston, you've gotten
So the Sunstones
you've
are
gone
missing.
on us again, and I'd like to just reel you back in by doing our classic segment, Preston's Climbing Corner. Sing the theme song, Lincoln.
Preston's climbing corner. It's a time to climb.
Not actually terrible. So Preston,
Pretty good.
this maybe is our most applicable climbing corner we've ever had, aside from Cliffhanger that you really engaged on. But there's a scene where they have to climb to meet something, I don't know, there's something about I couldn't give a shit, but they have to climb a bunch of big rock walls. How did you feel? How was it?
They don't really show any of the actual climbing though. They just sort of poke the camera over the edge, see that there is in fact a rock wall, and then the next shot is them having to jump across that chasm. So I can't really.
I mean, there's
really no climbing to rate.
There's a pretty decent chunk.
So
of
it gets a
climb.
0 out of 10 on my very famous Preston's Climbing Corner scale.
Okay, a 0 out of climb.
A 0 out of climb. Thank you for listening to Preston's Climbing Corner. It's a time to climb.
That was
Okay.
a really just
Let's keep
rock
going.
solid 20 seconds of podcast we did.
It was so good.
Look,
And
everybody.
5 of those seconds on either end were the theme song. Guys, think about this. If every 5 minutes we had a little bit and it took us 30 seconds to make a theme song, we only have to come up with 4 minutes of material in between.
That's pretty good. I think we can do it.
I think it's so sustainable. I think we could totally do that.
Do you guys remember that time they did go to Waterfall City and the water somehow moved at a slower frame rate than the rest of the world? I thought that was interesting.
That was kind of weird. Do you remember getting just such strong Star Wars prequel vibes from Waterfall City?
Oh, yeah. A little bit of Star Wars prequel, a little bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but probably not a good version of it.
Yeah, one of the bad ones. A little bit of Firefly, oddly enough, I think.
Just a hint. Just a hint.
I liked Waterfall City. I would like to live there.
It'd be cool. It'd be
Other
neat.
than Waterfall City.
I'm not sure how the water is getting there or doing that, but it's cool.
Yeah. Here's my other question. So the Sunstones, they say provide energy for the town, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a pre-industrial civilization. What do they need energy for?
Oh, they're hugging.
It's not like there's street lights.
They're doing hugs.
It's not like there's TVs.
It's personal energy. It's like, how do I feel today? Pretty bad.
Like spiritual energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, because they're all introverts, and so they need their social energy, their social battery to be charged by the sunstone, as do we all, if I'm being honest. I charged up right before we did this, started this podcast. Kind of seems like Preston maybe did remember to charge his.
Yeah, clearly I did not.
Yeah, you got one of the weaker, more cracked, bad sunstones, I think. Boy.
Yeah, I can hear the T-Rexes coming through my door now, actually.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty scary moment, but New Zealand sunstone is just kicking ass, so that's cool. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, as far as America goes, we're really not sure if we're gonna get a sunstone at all. There's a whole segment of the population that's like, we don't need sunstones anymore.
Yeah, there's a segment of the
like,
population that thinks that sunstones don't actually exist and possibly give you cancer.
Yeah,
it's pretty
and
cool.
The rest
out
of us
there.
are like, no, it's pretty necessary.
It's pretty cool. If you guys were gonna be one of the fly children or the ground children, which would you want to be? Because that
Fly
seems to be
child,
the
all
two
the way.
directions.
Obviously.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're both air boys, Preston and I.
I do like
air
that
boys
it's like,
extraordinaire.
oh, you get to go fly around on a dinosaur, and then it's you get to sit around and babysit. And he's
Yeah.
because he wants to leave, but he doesn't really like work that hard.
There's no pushback
No.
really on that.
He's like, oh, okay. Doesn't it? Okay, they go to, right before that happens, they go to dinosaur school. And
Yeah.
Is dinosaur school, is graduating from dinosaur school like a, I don't know, like a 48-hour program?
It does
that you
seem
just
pretty
show
quick.
up on a Monday morning and you're done by like Wednesday morning?
It seems pretty quick because they show up there and then like that night, David's reading a book and Carl is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And David's like, "I'm studying for graduation," obviously.
Uh-huh. Or do you think even though they humor the dinosaurs, in general, humans are so much smarter than dinosaurs that they could just like fly through.
They could just
all the
crush
coursework?
dinosaur school.
Yeah, it was like the first quiz is like, is eating humans good or bad? And they're like, bad. And they're like, you passed.
They're like, "Wow, you graduated."
Only 10% of our students make it past that first one.
I do
Second
actually
question,
like that.
are sunstones, do you like sunstones or do you not like sunstones? And they're like sunstones. Correct.
Second question was, do we want to like sunstones or do we want to eat sunstones? Which is it? It's all eating based. It's like, do we learn or do we eat brain? We learn. Okay, good job. Yeah.
Good job. Is rock for eat? Is rock for eat? Is rock for eat or for move or for push? It's for push. I can't believe you're getting these.
Wow, you're just crushing
No
it.
one's ever gotten that one right.
Zippo, how'd you know, Zippo? Good job. Rock is not for eat.
No, rock is for push.
Is sandwich for push or sandwich for eat? And then all the dinosaurs are like, sandwich for
Sandwich is
push.
for eat.
They're like, oh man,
Sandwich for push, sandwich for push. Is boat for sail or is boat for eat?
both for eat.
Oh, I'm sorry, John. You got it wrong. Boat is for sail.
Oh gosh, now that we've done that quiz, I've run out of things for my Find Your Funny. I don't know what to do because that was what I was gonna do. I was gonna run you through the dinosaur quiz. I guess I'll go. I was just looking around for it, or funny, as I tend to want to do, and I do think we've lost it. Or never maybe had it is possible, but I'd love to find it. Much like Dinotopia, let's crash
It
our
got
plane
broken.
and find ourselves a Dinotopia
Yeah.
funny. And I've come up with a little game that's not so much a game as it is a prompt, and I have 3 or 4 answers, and I want to workshop a couple more with you boys if you don't mind.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I call this prompt Tyrannosaurus Riz. So I came up with, as we were watching it, some pickup lines inspired by and/or direct quotes from Dinotopia. So I'll read what I have, give you guys a chance to think for a little bit, and then we'll come back and reconvene and talk through some. So I've got.
Hey, John. John.
Hmm?
Are you a sunstone? Because you were positively glowing right now.
Preston.
That's good. Wow.
I'm gonna have to leave the goddamn room.
That's
Wow.
Oh man, I'm blushing a little bit. Whew, I'm sweating. My first one was kind of sunstone based, but it was a little more. I don't know. I think it goes in a different direction. It's, hey baby, you want to see my prime sunstone? So that was an interesting
Oh wait,
one.
I got another Sunstone one.
Okay.
Hey baby, are you a 19th century submarine? Because I want to put my sunstone in your undercarriage. They're laughing really hard. If you can't hear it, they're laughing so hard.
That was the worst collection of words I've ever heard in my life. I never want to hear that ever again, ever. Oh, man.
Hey babe, are you a flybacks? Because I want to ride you all night.
Okay. Similarly, is your name Sky? Because I want to see you on your backs. We've got... this was a direct quote. If you want to win, you got to learn how to smash. Then we've got, hey, shh, when the Skybacks moves, lean into it. You'll find your balance. I think that's a fun one. And this is a direct
John,
quote.
you
that
should have
is
said those
possibly
before
my
we
favorite of
were
all
so
time.
inspired.
Hmm?
Post Preston's, none of them have quite the same verve.
No, they don't, but it's okay because we're just going to keep on keeping on because my last one that is a direct quote is "Welcome to the south entrance of the world beneath," which I think is applicable in probably one situation, but it's good.
Okay, that has two layers, right? Because it's the south entrance
Right.
of the world beneath.
The world beneath.
So you're already at the south entrance.
Right.
You're already in the world beneath. And you're like, you know what? I'm taking the south entrance this time.
I'm going Robert Frost's The Road Less Traveled, if you ask me.
Whose wootsies are, I think I know. That was another Robert Frost reference.
It was good. It was a good one.
Hey babe, are you a Brachiosaurus? Cause your back looks wicked fucked up.
Are you?
Oh,
are you,
I got one. I got one.
Okay.
Sorry, I totally interrupted. Go ahead.
It's fine.
Hey babe, are you an ancient dinosaur scroll? Because I want to spread you across a table.
How about are you a carnivore that we might be racist about? Because you can eat my meat any day.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Thanks.
Hey babe, are you Dinotopia? Because I've lost interest in you after 2 hours.
Well, there it is, our funny. And Preston even made one. He made a funny.
I know.
You're welcome.
I don't know. Is
Lincoln,
there what other stuff?
I have a question specifically for you.
Yeah.
As our resident, the most whimsical of the group.
That's such
do you
a
rate
kind
the
way to
whimsy
phrase
of
it.
This movie.
I kind of dug the whimsy a little bit. I wish, I can't get my mind out of the idea that I wish the whole movie was just about Dinotopia. Like it was
Right.
just in the universe. We didn't have to have a plane crash. Like I would have been okay if the universe is just like, this is the world of the story. We don't need POV characters because the world's not that complicated. It's just kind of silly and fun.
I do see that. My concern with that movie is that you'd have to delve into some of the more concerning laws and rules that seem to be in place in Dinotopia as they have it now.
As in?
Well, does it... Okay, all right. Well, it does seem like we got to talk about this because I've hinted around it quite a bit. They say at one point that all dinosaurs can speak and could learn to speak English. They just don't... They're not taught, right?
Some of them don't. Yeah.
So what? Like why are the what is the meta what is this movie trying to say? Because what it is saying is that some things that are equal to these things, if they were given the right opportunities, are evil and bad because of their upbringing, and for that reason we should shun them to the underworld, the world beneath, and they should never be involved. Which doesn't feel like a great message.
That is some challenging ideas. No, and you're right. I think if I were to make this movie that was just taking place in the Dinotopia world, here's the setup though. You have some resource that's depleting. You have this kind of anonymous, unknown enemy that you've already hinted at hasn't gotten enough education and doesn't get opportunities. I feel like the natural outcome, the natural resolution is like, let's learn to resolve our differences. Maybe we're not enemies, and maybe the Sunstones are actually dying because of our hatred for one another.
Yeah, that feels like a good one. But instead, the movie is just like, oh man, they're here? Just kidding, we got you. Fuck you, idiots.
That third act gets pretty buck wild.
It gets hog wild.
It gets wet and wild and crazy. They really knew where to spend the money, which is the last 5 minutes of the film.
That is definitely the best part of the movie. That flight chase sequence, the bit with the underground cave. Actually, everything from the submarine on is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and you could tell that was where they were like, okay, now let's make it exciting. And then the movie ends.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, thanks. Let's just tread water for, let's not spend money for 1 hour and 52 minutes. And then for the last 8, let's just like go hog wild on everybody.
Yeah. You guys, I rented this from the library. I got this from the library so many times in my childhood, and I just need to share that with you.
As a child?
Yeah.
That's how you know it so much better than me and Preston, because you are catching details that I have not the faintest glimmer of.
Nope. Nothing.
You guys notice how long he wears those jorts?
Who?
Yeah, Carl.
Carl? I don't remember. I wasn't paying attention to their jorts.
Okay, Preston, I have a question for you. As someone who's been outside for more than 25 business minutes, would you? what do you think is the max number of days that you can wear jorts, before they start smelling pretty rank?
Like a week.
Okay, it's more than that. I'm pretty sure that he wears these sweet jorts.
Oh, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, they're neither of their clothing is particularly outdoor ready.
It didn't feel like
well,
it.
to be fair, they weren't expecting to be outdoor ready.
Do we know where they were going?
They're going island hopping, is what they said.
That isn't anything. What?
It's like bar hopping, but islands.
You go to this island.
You go get really drunk, and then you fly to the next one.
You go to the next island. You get ate up by a dinosaur.
Yep.
I think that's exactly what they were doing.
Okay, also, I like when they talk about they crash land, they find Dinotopia, they're like, why hasn't anyone found out about this, and why hasn't anyone left? And they're like, okay, for your first question, do you know everything, shithead? And he's like, I guess not. And he's like, well, then maybe Dinotopia is just one of the things you don't know about, idiot, dumbass. And the second question, they're like, well, why has no one ever left? And they're like, there's really, really bad rocks. And it's like, really? That's it? Like,
yeah, but they're mad scary.
They're mad scary rocks. I hate to break it to you, but there's bad rocks in a lot of places that humans have ended up being able to get to, regardless.
I also like that what's his face, evil dude, is like, oh, you'll have to steal this book for me, and oh, you'll have to steal another book. It's like, it's a library.
Yeah,
like,
the books.
Just go in and like read the book and like tear the page out or like write down.
Or just copy it down.
Yeah.
Copy it down real quick.
The book that when it's stolen, all of the dinosaurs are like, this is unheard of. No one's ever stolen a book that was made for everyone to be able to read. Literally anyone. You guys, this
also,
is not honestly.
I was so confused by that scene.
Which scene?
That's the scene where he's like, here's the sunstone that I stole for you. Give me my book. And then he goes, and then his boat just immediately sinks. And Professor Lupin is like, crafty little bugger. He gave me a rock instead of a sunstone. I don't know what that was supposed to illustrate. I don't know why we had that.
I also do not know.
Because it's supposed to show that Carl's a good guy for not stealing the sunstone.
Yeah, but he also is just leaving.
Right. He's also leaving 26, his baby and maybe potential future lover.
Yeah. Okay, and then here's the next segment that was confusing. So at that point, I was like, as soon as Professor Lupin was introduced, I was like, okay, he's a bad guy. And then he had a couple moments where I was like, oh, maybe they're going for where you think he's a bad guy, but he's actually just kind of a tricky little merchant who's going to help you out. And then we get to the end, and it's the submarine, and she's like, oh, find your light. That's what they meant the whole time. And it was like, oh, okay, so there's just some narrative conclusion. So this is like her self-actualization. So she plugs her sunstone into the submarine, and then it goes. And then the movie's like, no, that was wrong. Professor Lupin's a bad guy again. And I felt like maybe the movie was just smarter than me, because I felt like the rug had been pulled out from under me like 6 different times. Or maybe it's just really bad at like telescoping what is going on.
I think it's just bad at telling you what's happening, because it like from the beginning he's like racist, and then he's super a dickhead most of the time, but then there is like a weird moment where you're led to believe, oh, he is a jerk, and maybe it's okay, like, because he's really helping them. He's the only one that can save them.
Maybe like a Han Solo type, where he's like, fine, I'll help.
But the movie forgets that if you're gonna make that turn, you can't then go back and be like, just kidding, he's an idiot bad man. And you're stupid for thinking
you can't
he might not have been.
subvert a subversion of expectations. You can't just be like, oh, we told you he was cool. He's not. Fuck you. Got him.
Because that's just expectations. Like, you can't... It's not like in one of the Star Wars, they could have been like, oh, actually, Luke is a bad person. And then be like, just kidding, he wasn't. But we subverted your expectations. It's like, no, you didn't. You told me the thing that I knew.
You just said 2 different things.
You lied to me, and then you told me the truth.
I like, you lied to me, and then you told me the truth. That's not subverting expectations.
I take umbrage with the scene in this movie. I have a problem where Carl, his connection with Freefall, the pterodactyl, they set up, because he's got this whole graduation thing.
Zippo and Freefall.
What about them?
His name is Freefall.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, his name is Freefall, and he has a psychic connection with Carl that isn't explained ever.
Yeah.
So, okay,
they're both white.
Carl, I wouldn't put it past this movie. Carl makes a connection with Freefall, the pterodon of some sort, and he has a graduation ceremony where the whole thing is you go up on these stairs on a little platform, you raise your arm up like a white power symbol, and then you go back and you wait for one of the pterodons to come land, and if you've made a connection, then you get a pterodon and you're part of the Skyvax. Great, we're all happy.
Yes.
So then Carl goes up there, he puts his arm up, and then nothing happens, but we see cut to Freefall looking at him like, oh, buddy, I'm here I go, I'm gonna come hang out with you. And then Carl is like, or David, it's not Carl, it's David. He's like, oh, bummer, that sucks, that's a shame. And then he walks down the stairs, walks out of the hall, has a conversation, then walks back in and up the stairs and does it again, and Freefall comes and lands. You cannot for $1 billion trillion convince me that this scene wasn't supposed to be him raising his arm, doing that. You see that, like, oh, maybe Freefall's a little hesitant, and then he jumps off, and then it's a big dramatic moment where Freefall has to come get him. You can't convince me that that wasn't the plan, and then they went, that's way too much CGI for us to try to figure out. Because as it stands, this scene is so underwhelming.
Yes, it is. Because I felt him, like, oh, he's going to have to jump.
Yeah.
Like, I felt it happen. Like, I felt the movie leading up to it, and then it was like, no, he didn't. And then he just kind of ends up on the pterodon somehow.
It feels so much like that scene in Preston's favorite movie that shall not be named, where here's like the big weird griffin thing and the big muscle man just like, he's like, I can connect with him, and then he gets there and he does, and you're like, okay, I guess, sure, okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very weird energy. And then the third act just happens. It just starts happening right then and there. He doesn't get off the pterodon until the movie's over.
No. And neither do we as viewers, if you know.
But he's going to get off a pterodon later once the sun goes down,
Yeah, he is. Yep.
He's going to get off a pterodon, and then he's going to dismount it.
Ew. Ugh.
I think it's time to do equivalent punishment, I do believe.
Do you think so? Is there anything else we wanted to say about this thing? I'm looking through my notes just before we get there.
I think, yeah, just dinosaurs talk. One of them's named Zippo. Marion has a slight love relationship with both of the boys, and it's never really clear where that's going or why. She starts out with, she kind of likes David, and then David goes to flight school and David fucking goes into a coma, and then she falls in love with Carl for a while, and they skinny dip together, and then David wakes back up, and she's like, no, actually David's cool.
Yeah, I mean... Oh, the jaguar sounds. I knew there was something I was missing. So the pterodons, the bad ones, they make such distinct jungle cat sounds. I don't know if you guys picked up on this.
I'm so sorry. I think I was pretty checked out at this point in the film.
It's so specifically that.
I'll tell you what, John, just for you, I will go back and I'll check that part in the video. You
know what? You don't even have to. I'm gonna play it for us. I'm gonna play it for us right now.
Oh no. Oh no.
Everybody wait. I mean, don't wait. Preston, do you have anything else you want to say about this movie while I'm pulling this thing up?
I feel like I had something and I've forgotten it.
What was it?
Okay, I'd say let's get into equivalent punishment.
I'm pulling up the sound, Lincoln.
John,
I know we could do this while you're doing
this?
that.
Yeah, we do that sometimes. Why do you guys think I made you watch this? I kind of already told you, I guess.
Ooh. Well, because you watched it a lot as a kid, and
100%,
because you want to fuck a dinosaur?
It's both of those. Yeah, it's exactly those two things.
The second one for sure.
It's both, I said. It's both of those. All right. I'm going to play a little collection of this film, and then we're just going to... Hold on, everybody.
Don't worry, this is really great podcast audio right here.
Yeah,
this is such good practice.
Closer to the speaker, that'll make it sound really good.
I'm trying to get to the bit.
They teach us in podcast school that playing a sound through your computer speakers into your microphone is the highest fidelity version of capturing audio.
Did you hear him?
Not even a little bit.
Did you hear him, or were you too busy being chuckle fucks? Because I don't think you were really paying attention.
I don't think the bit rate of Discord is really meant to capture the nuances of this pterodon sound.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start us off at our next segment, which is equivalent punishment. This is the cinematic equivalent of showing your two best friends in the world a movie that meant a lot to you as a child, and knowing that it's going to be bad and hoping that they're going to engage with you on that in a fun way, but instead they just don't have fun with any part of the process. It's like that.
You cannot say that I have not been engaging with this movie.
That's true. It's a good point.
This movie is the cinematic equivalent to the last day of school when there's no more lessons to learn, and so the teacher's just kind of sitting on the desk saying, what do you want to do? And everyone's like, I don't know. You're the teacher.
This would be a movie you would watch on the last day of school for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very strong 7th grade energy to this movie. This movie is the cinematic equivalent to recording 2 hours of silence and playing it back and hoping that it helps you fall asleep, and it doesn't.
This movie is the cinematic equivalent to being really, really, really sleepy, and then you go take a nap and you wake up and you're still absolutely just as tired, if not more so.
This is cinematic equivalent to when you're at a party and someone orders a pizza and everyone likes a topping that you don't like, but you don't want to be the one guy who's like, I really hate olives. So you just kind of deal with it. You just kind of deal with there being olives on your pizza.
This is the cinematic equivalent of doom scrolling for 2 hours and then having a moment where you wake up.
This is a cinematic equivalent to reading the back of one of those like kids fantasy series, and you're at the library and you don't know whether or not you want to read the book, and so you read like the summary of like 12 of them in a row.
This is the cinematic equivalent of doing a bunch of ayahuasca and then thinking about Jurassic Park.
Yeah, there was a lot of I could be watching Jurassic Park right now.
Yeah, anytime a dinosaur
I could be watching
showed up.
like I could be watching one of the greatest movies ever made right now, and
Yeah.
I'm not. Okay, I think we have enough.
Yeah, we did
I'm
it.
So
Do we need a title? Do we
I'm
have a
so
title?
excited to tell you. I was thinking about episode title, and the problem is if we come up with something funnier later, then we can't really keep the episode title brainstorm in there because then it sounds like it was for nothing. So I say let's do the brainstorm off the air.
I like it. Except then we're going to have something that makes no sense to people.
And I think it'll be. They're not going to know the title. They're not going to get the title before they listen to the episode.
Are we at all concerned that people are going to start? Our titles are going to get too out there, and then people are not going to know what movie we talked about. That's a fear I've had.
I think there's a couple ones that I don't remember what movie we talked about.
I think I'm okay with that. It's just it's part of what we're doing.
Okay.
Here.
They can look
Okay,
at
so-
show notes and decide for themselves.
Yeah, that works.
Guys, I'm so excited.
Lincoln, what are we watching?
Okay. Last week, Preston said he did not want to make you watch 2 whole ass separate movies.
No, okay.
But I have the courage. I would like to break the seal.
Oh, no.
So the primary movie we are watching is Vin Diesel's Babylon AD.
Okay.
Do you know anything about Babylon AD?
I've brushed past it on Netflix, I believe, and thought, oh, that looks like something we'd watch for this podcast.
And your homework is to watch the dystopian science fiction classic Children of Men
Okay.
before you watch Babylon AD.
Okay.
So it's kind of a 2-for-1
What's
podcast.
what's our time limit on this? Like how much can we spread these apart, or is it a double feature kind of night?
I don't care. I want you to watch Children of Men. I've heard great things about it. I haven't seen it. And then I want you to watch Babylon AD,
Okay.
which I have seen.
Okay.
as
Great.
long as I think as long as Children of Men is first, you can wait any amount of time before watching Babylon AD next.
Okay. Can't
And,
wait.
Oh boy, guys, I'll give you just the slightest hint. I started Babylon AD, and I was like, oh no, is this movie just bad? It's not like bad in a fun way. And then it gets, we get so wacky, we get so wild. You're not ready.
Okay.
You're not ready for this movie.
I can't wait. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Motion Picture Retribution Power Hour. If you want to hit us up, we have an email. It's mprphpodcast@gmail.com. We are also technically on YouTube, but that's pretty not kept up to date, so who knows how true that'll be forever. Yeah, I don't know. Thanks for listening. If you can, just rate the show. And
Rate
stuff.
us. Yeah.
Send it to a good friend of yours or a bad enemy, somebody that won't judge us.
Yeah,
for
send it
saying
to an enemy.
Bad language words.
There's really no in between. It's either your best friend or your worst enemy.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely
No other
there's
people in between
No
who
in between on
understand.
that. You're right.
Definitely not
I
a casual acquaintance.
I have been. Did I say everything? Did I get all? Okay. It looks like.
Yeah, I think you're
Looks
good.
like yes. All right. I have been Brother John, and just as we live by the codes of Dinotopia, so must we prepare to die.
I have been Brother Lincoln. I could crash you from here.
And I have been Brother Preston. We'll just insert one of the jaguar sounds that John won't stop talking about.
That's pretty good, Lincoln.